It's the patch stop.
Where's Peggy?
There's Peggy Patch.
Peggy Patch has found a patch that's always on the move. Where's Peggy's patch today? Peggy looks as though she's in a bit of a traffic jam here, but it's all right, because on this patch, instead of the cars moving along the road's going to move the cars, because she's on a ferry. But where are we going? Mark's the skipper of the ferry. He knows.
We've just left Strangford now, Peggy. We're going to Port of Ferry. We're in Port of Ferry in 4 or 5 minutes. Tide's with us today, going across, so we'll make a fairly quick crossing. You can see, Peggy, I have 2 wheels here. One I use to steer to Strangford, another I use to steer to Port of Ferry. The ferry itself goes across 64 trips a day. I'm on the early shift today, so I have 32 runs to do.
Back and forth, back and forth. Must take a lot of work to keep the ferry moving all through the year. Hear that throbbing noise? That's the sound of the engine driving the ferry. Peggy's down in the engine room now, finding out how they work. It's ever so noisy down in the engine room. Did you hear how it works? The engine shakes and turns the shaft. Propellers spin and churn. The ferry moves and sails along with whitewashed sea to stern.
Look, it's £2 can all together, please. Thank you. There we are. Thanks very much.
If people didn't use the ferry to cross the Lough, they'd have to drive all the way around the outside of the Lough. So instead of the journey taking, say, 5 minutes, it would take, about a couple of hours, and they wouldn't be able to enjoy the sea breezes. What's that sound? Is it the sound of the sea breezes or a tin whistle? Seems to be coming from the castle, way over on the other side of the Lough. I think it's Tim, the storyteller.
A long time ago, before there was a ferry, So my story goes. There lived in a raggedy old castle down by the shores of a loch a king and a queen. King Rumbly and Queen Tumbly. They were the jolliest king and queen you would ever be likely to meet. Now, Rumbly and Tumbly had a cook who made the most delicious of pies. They ate them by the barrowful. Now one day, Rumbly and Tumbly were snoozing on the grass outside the castle after eating a pile of pies. The queen twitched her nose. "You know, Rumbly," said the queen, "I can smell the most delicious smell of cakes." The king sniffed. "Doesn't it smell scrumptious?" said the king. "And it seems to be coming from the old mill on the other side of the loch." "Well then," said the queen, "let's away on over and see if we can have a taste of what's cooking." So, the king and the queen heaved themselves up onto their huge wagon of a horse cloppy, and off they trotted sloppily round the loch. It was a slow ride, with Rumbly and Tumbly giggling and falling off many times. But after 2 days of rumbustious riding, they finally arrived at the mill on the other side of the loch. The miller welcomed them smiling. "We've come to take a taste of your cakes, miller," said the king. "Sure," said the miller, "that'll be a penny a cake." "Ooh," said the queen, "we'll take the lot." "Oh no," said King Rumbly, "I've left me purse in the castle on the other side of the loch." "I'll tell you what, miller," said the queen. "Why don't you take our horse Cloppy and ride round the loch to the castle on the other side, where our cook will feed you on the tastiest pies ever. Just leave us here with your cakes." So the miller agreed, and he heaved himself up onto Cloppy, and he rode right round the loch to the castle on the other side. Rumbly and Tumbly stayed in the mill, and they had the biggest feast of their lives. They had every one of the miller's fine cakes. And when they had eaten, they snoozed on the grass in front of the mill. When they awoke, Queen Tumbly sniffed the air. "You know, Rumbly," she said, "I can smell cook's fine pies baking for breakfast." "But, my dear," said the king, "we are on this side of the loch, and the castle kitchen is on the other side of the loch. The miller has ridden off on Cloppy, and he's probably tucking into cook's pies right now." Now the miller had never tasted anything like the cook's pies before. "This is the life," he smiled. "I don't mind waiting here in the castle until the king and queen return." So the miller waited on one side of the loch eating the pies, while Rumbly and Tumbly waited on the other side, getting hungrier and hungrier. At last Queen Tumbly said, "Well, we can't just go on sitting here. We'll have to eat something." So Rumbly and Tumbly, who had never they had a rackety good time, mixing and rolling. They were as happy as could be, laughing and eating delicious pies and cakes. Now one day, the cook and the miller were snoozing on the grass outside the castle. The smell of the queen's cakes was drifting over the loch. The miller twitched his nose. "Cookie, me dear, what a scrumptious smell. That smells just like the cakes that I used to bake. Come on, Cookie, let's away on over the other side and see if we can have a taste of what's baking there." So the cook and the miller heaved themselves up onto Cloppy, and they rode right round the loch to the mill on the other side. Clip clop, 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 clip clop. When they arrived, there was much laughing and eating of pies and cakes. Then Rumbly and Tumbly decided to return to the castle on the other side of the loch, and the miller and the cook decided to get married, and they lived together in the mill. For many years after that, the air above the loch was filled with the delicious smell of bacon. And it didn't matter which side of the loch you were on. because the pies and cakes were as scrumptious as each other on both sides.
Rumbly and Tumbly wouldn't have had to hang around waiting for long for their pies and cakes if there'd been a ferry to cross the loch, because there's the bakery van now. See who else is travelling on the ferry.
Tractor and trailer. Coal lorry. Oh dear, bashed car. Who's driving? The dog? Empty boxes on that lorry. They smell a bit fishy. Something else a bit fishy there. Northern Ireland Aquarium. Peggy's found somebody else on the ferry. Children on their way to school playing pushpenny.
Leave on. Oh yeah! 3, 2.
I don't know who won, but I don't think it matters too much. Here's someone else on their way to school. It's Sean, and he's on his way to playgroup on the other side of the loch. So we're just going to make a telescope to see what we can see at sea. I roll up this piece of card. You hang on to it, and I'll put some sticky tape on it. Where's the joint? There we go. That should hold it, shouldn't it? So there's your telescope. Roll mine up. Stick it down. Right, we're sailors, looking out to sea. What can we see?
There's a fishing boat going away over. There's the crane on that boat.
That's because it hauls up the fish in a great big net, doesn't it? Do you think we'll see any seals out to sea?
Yeah.
Is that a seal? Can you see that black bit there? Does it look like a seal's head to you?
Right, Peggy, we're just coming into Port of Ferry now. You'll just see me letting the ramp down to let the cars off, passengers off.
There's your playgroup, Sean, looking at what Gabriel's caught in his lobster pots. What are they looking at?
Nice to see you and your friends here. What we're going to do is going to show you a few of the little things that live under the water in Strangford Lough. Do you know what that is, Sean? It's a sea urchin. It's very prickly. Feel it?
Looks a bit like a hedgehog, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? This is a very special one. That goes up to the aquarium in Ferry. So it's going to live up there, so it is. Does anybody know what this is? Eh? Oh. That's a lobster. And we caught that just outside there. It's gone into the aquarium as well. Now, I've got to be a little bit careful with this one, because you see, he's got big claws. But if you just pet him down there, he'll not touch you, I promise you. I promise you. There you go. It's nice and good. We have to give him a name. Can anybody suggest a name? So that when he goes up to the aquarium, we have a special name for him. What would we call him?
Garden.
Gordon.
Gordon. Well, we call him Gordon.
I think that's a good name.
Gordon's a nice name, isn't it?
Do they just crawl into your pots then?
Yep, they just crawl in. Now, these here are little starfish. And in the aquarium, there's plenty of starfish, so we don't need any more. We just thought we'd bring them ashore and let you see them. But what we're going to do is we're going to let you put them into the water. There you are. There's yours. Put your hand out. There you are. There's yours. And you take this one. Come on. Now be very, very careful because it's a little bit slippery here. I'm going to put them back in the water. Look, I've got a hold of you. Don't worry. There you are. Touch the water. And look, there he's away. Look. Way home. Will we bring our little fishy friends up to the aquarium?
Peggy's already up at the aquarium, looking at the fish that live in the loch.
Diddle 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 dee, diddle fishes in the sea, diddly eye diddle dum in the aquarium, diddle 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 die, diddle fishes swimming by, diddly eye diddle dum in the aquarium, diddle 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 die, diddle fishes swimming by, diddly eye diddle dum in the aquarium, diddle 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 do, diddle fishes in the sea, diddly eye diddle dum in the aquarium, diddle 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 dum, diddly eye diddle do, diddly eye diddle diddle dum diddle dum, diddly eye diddle do, diddly eye diddle do, diddly eye diddle diddle dum diddle dum, diddle 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 die, diddle fishes in the bar, diddly eye diddle diddle dum diddle do, diddle diddle dum, diddly eye diddle do, diddly eye diddle diddle dum diddle 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 fishes in the sea, diddly eye diddle dum.
When can a ferry go forwards if its back is always in front? When can a ferry go backwards when its front is always behind? Pull up the back, and off it goes. The ferry moves and sails along with whitewashed sea to stern. Oh, there's the bus bell. Time for Peggy to leave this patch and find another patch for next week. Bye, Peggy!
Playdays magazine is on sale every Wednesday, and this week look out for the free sticker album and stickers, free with every issue.